Hello and welcome to Rio's Positive POV. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get updated when videos come available. Today I'm going to be going through my top 10 direct movie sequels of all time. We're only talking about the second movie in a series. Let's go. Number 10. So coming in at number 10, we have Blade Runner 2049. This 2017 release was directed by Denis Villeneuve and is a direct sequel of the 1982 movie Blade Runner, which was directed by Ridley Scott and starred Harrison Ford. This movie stars Ryan Gosling and he is his absolute beast self in it. The cinematography is absolutely sexy in this. I didn't necessarily want a sequel for this film, but 35 years later, they released an absolute banger of one. Coming in at number 9, we have Evil Dead 2, the second movie in the Evil Dead series, which was once again directed by the beast that is Sam Raimi. It was released in 1987, 6 years after the original. Bruce Campbell is absolutely insane in this again, and the two of them together, Raimi and Campbell, managed to put out an even better movie than the original, which is something that is not normally the case with sequels. Number 8. So coming in at number 8, we have Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. This sequel was released 2 years after the original Mad Max and was once again directed by George Miller, the man who created the Mad Max universe. Mel Gibson once again stars as Mad Max in another iconic performance. If I could put every single Mad Max movie in this list, I would, but rules are rules for a reason and they can't be broken. Fury Road, however, is by far one of my all-time favourite sequels of all time. Number 7. Coming in at number 7, we have SpiderMan II. SpiderMan II is the second movie in the Sam Raimi trilogy and is also the second Sam Raimi movie to feature on this list, which probably shows that he does better when he has a second crack at something and also understands the universe much more. Spider-Man 2 for me is the best Spider-Man film that's been released to this date. The villain is absolutely perfect. The special effects are absolutely fucking awesome. And as comic book movies go, you won't really get better than that. Number 6. So coming in at number 6, we have Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 is the only animation film which is going to be on this list. It hurt me to leave out The Incredibles 2, but I had to do it as there are some better films, movie sequels anyway, in my opinion. Toy Story 2 was a breath of fresh air. It completely dispelled the myth that movie sequels suck, and Pixar just never put a foot wrong. This one was completely knocked out the park. The movie expanded the Toy Story universe, brought in some absolutely legendary new characters, but also kept the original feel of the first film. The reason why everybody loved Toy Story in the first place was the heartfelt moments, and number 2 didn't lose that. It is the best animation sequel of all time and is one which is comfortably on my top 10 list direct movie sequels of all time. Number 5. So coming in at number 5, we have Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, aka Episode 5. It is, of course, the second Star Wars movie to be released, but the 5th in chronological order. The movie was directed by Irvin Kershner, who took over the reins from George Lucas. The movie is iconic for one of the biggest reveals / twists in cinema history. The movie is not only one of the best movie sequels of all time, it is by far the best Star Wars movie released out of the 11. It is just a perfect movie. So Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back comes in at number 5. It is episode 5 and may the Force be with you. Number 4. So coming in at number 4, we have Aliens. Aliens is a film which I debate with myself all the time, much like my number 1 pick on the list, which is the original or the sequel better? So this sequel for me is absolutely insane. It's not as good as the original because I think the original for me is one of my top 10 movies of all time because the alien reveals in the first film are just so sick. However, in this film, you've added 2 serious actors in Bill Paxton and Michael Biehn, and they do add some serious credentials to this movie. However, I do think the original is better for the alien reveal moments. The best thing for me in the sequel, however, the movie which is number 4 on my list, which is still a great achievement, I believe anyway, because I've got some seriously fucking good films on this list, is because the added military element, which allows Cameron to show how destructive these aliens can actually be. Because in the first film, they're just going up against a couple of scientists, but you put them up against military operatives with some serious fucking power, then they're going to show exactly what they could do, and allows you to see that these are not things we ever want to see on Earth. So Aliens is my number 4 best sequel of all time. Number 3. So in number 3, we have Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It is the second movie in a row on this list to be directed by James Cameron, and was released in 1991, 7 years after the iconic original Terminator hit the screen. The movie series will always have a soft spot in my heart, as my parents named me Reese over Carl Reese from the original Terminator film. My given name is Reese. Rios is my nickname. Anyways, this is just an unreal sequel. The visual effects and fight scenes are just fucking awesome. And the movie is just adrenaline from start to finish, and is a movie that I will just be watching throughout my life time and time again, and one of the best movies of all time. Number 2. So coming in at number 2, we have The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is a movie which I've already reviewed on this channel, so if you want to find out more in-depth thoughts, then please go check that out. It is also a movie that sits atop my top 10 comic book movies of all time, and it's just one of my favorite movies of all time. I went to watch it the other day again in IMAX, and it's just such a great cinema experience. It's one of the reasons why even though I love Netflix and Amazon Prime, I really wish that the cinemas just stick around, because there's just nothing quite like going to the cinema and watching a movie for the first time. Heath Ledger's performance is just insane. It is still one of the greatest performances, and will probably be one of the greatest performances ever put on screen. So The Dark Knight is my number 2 favorite movie sequel of all time. Number 1. So coming in at number 1, we have, of course, everybody's probably guessed it already, it is The Godfather Part 2. The second movie in the Godfather trilogy, once again directed by Francis Ford Coppola, is a perfect movie. The acting, the directing, the cinematography, the music, everything about it is just awesome. It shows 2 different storylines. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino both portray a different generation of Corleone crime boss, and the movie is one which, it's just the best movie sequel of all time. It's not really debatable. The Dark Knight kind of, for a moment, got in my head, but no, The Godfather Part 2 is my number 1 favourite movie sequel of all time, and is in my top 5 movies of all time. It is just that fucking good. It is just insanely great. If it weren't for Marlon Brando, it'd probably be my favourite movie of all time, but it's just a great sequel, and one which thoroughly deserves its place on top of the list.